Well, most people see tiny homes as a holiday home. This is not a holiday for me. I'm homeless.
With soaring rental and housing prices across the country, people are looking for cheaper alternatives. I've come to Queensland to meet two people who've been priced out of the market and have now found their own solutions. Hello, Rochelle.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank
Come
you
on
very
in.
much. Oh, nice. So how big is this place?
It's 2.2 metres high, 2.2 metres wide, and the length is 4.2 metres.
It's very compact. You've got to be good with your space management.
Yeah, every surface counts. There's always extra effort that you have to do to live in a tiny house because things have got to be moved in order to make things functional. And that is bed mode. Because I don't have a toilet here yet, landlady's been very gracious and giving me a key so I can access the toilet facilities in there. I also pay for my share of the electricity and water. So here's my sink, and obviously I keep my dishes separate because obviously I need to wash my hands during the day. So all my dirty dishes go in there and I just generally pop it away so you can't see it. And then that gives me extra bench space, and when I want to cook dinner I can just pop my electric stove up here.
Rochelle has been living in a tiny house for 9 months. She and her daughter were in a 2-bedroom unit before the landlord sold it. She needed to stay in the same area so that her daughter's final year of high school was not interrupted by changing schools. But the prices had increased substantially, pricing her out of the market.
It was the most stressful time of my life. You know, I've got a daughter in grade 12. I'm working full time. I was pouring everything into trying to find a home for us, and there's just nothing. At one point I said to my daughter, I'm so sorry, but we're just going to have to put our energy into the tiny house. Billet steak to good boy. The purchase price was $20,000. I bought it off Gumtree. Then I've put another $20,000 in it to renovate it because I had to completely gut it.
Rochelle has parked her tiny house in her friend's backyard, where she connects to their power and water. Tiny houses are caravan-like houses built on wheels or trailers so they can be towed to different locations. They're similar in size to a shipping container.
The whole house is only 16 by 8 feet.
Tiny houses started in the US 30 years ago and are often promoted online as glamorous ways to downsize and live outside cities. Over the last 15 years in Australia, they've grown in popularity as weekend retreats on holiday rental sites.
This is where I had to pour all my money because I know that this rental crisis isn't going away anytime soon. I'm not going to get back into the rental market, let alone buy my own property.
The rental market is bleak across the country, with just 1% of rental properties available nationally. That is the lowest rate since April 2006. And the Brisbane market, where Rochelle is living, is below the national rate, with 0.7% of rental properties vacant. In terms of affordable rentals, that is, rental properties that cost less than $400 a week, Brisbane is less affordable than Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne, with only 13% of rental properties under $400. Town planning academic Paul Burton has been researching tiny houses for 6 years and says the number of people living in them permanently is growing.
We reckon there's maybe 1,000 or so people live permanently in tiny houses on wheels.
Paul believes tiny houses are one solution to the housing crisis and wants local councils to review laws around temporary dwellings.
I think councils just need to be more thoughtful about how they want to regulate tiny house living. It may have been a policy that you devised some years or decades ago, or other circumstances have changed. You go, well actually there's a housing crisis and we'd like to make some land available for somebody to come along and put a cluster of tiny houses here.
Despite being an advocate for tiny houses, Paul says they have their limitations.
We could make a tiny house out of wood. It'd look lovely, it'd look beautiful. But if you go and live in that in, Gippsland, and there's a bushfire, then you're sitting in something that a few sparks and it's going to catch fire and go up very quickly. What happens if it gets flooded, or rain affected?
So this is the problem that I've had, being a single mum for 16 years. It's very hard for me to enter back into the real estate market. So this is something I don't see myself moving out of anytime soon.